if we want to tell some story to make people understand, we could give an example of something that they are familiar with.
Yes. One of the ways I approach stories is, first of all, to state the obvious, every story needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. There needs to be an arc. And so my process is tell the story the way I want to tell the story, with whatever details I want to tell it, and then edit down, cut, until you're left with the essence.
Creative Talk นะครับเราได้รับเกียรตินะครับมากๆนะครับจากหนึ่งในนักเขียนต้องบอกว่าเป็นนักเขียนระดับโลกเลยนะครับนั่นก็คือคุณไกวินช์นั่นเองนะครับวันนี้ผมก็เลยมานั่งคิดกันว่าถ้าเกิดว่านักเขียนหนังสือระดับโลกแบบนี้นะครับมาถึงงานเราเนี่ยเราจะชวนเขาคุยอะไรดีนะฮะเรื่องที่ผมคิดว่าน่าสนใจแล้วก็คิดว่าน่าจะเป็นประโยชน์กับทุกคนนะฮะก็คือเรื่องของ storytelling นั่นเองนะครับก่อนอื่นเดี๋ยวขออนุญาตทักทายคุณไกวินช์ก่อนนะครับOkay, good afternoon, Guy Winch. Okay, yeah. Okay, so first of all, I would like you to talk about yourself. Like who are you? What are you doing right now?
Okay, I'm a psychologist. I'm also a therapist. I'm also a podcaster. I'm also a writer, and I also advise startups in the mental health space.
You do many things.
I do many things. I'm very privileged to be able to do many different interesting things.
So could you tell us the secret of storytelling, how you tell a story or tell what you want to communicate to the reader?
So this idea of the packaging, it makes a big difference. It's not just about a title.
Okay.
It's about the whole theme of the book. There are many psychologists and there are many people writing books about similar topics. But what the frame is that helps people understand the whole approach. So when I was in school, one of the most successful books, it was about couples, and it was called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. Do you remember that book?
Yeah, I know that book. Very famous here too.
Yes, and what made it famous? The whole thing about men and women are from different planets. It was a clever framing, and that made it interesting. And then you carry that theme from the book. And so people have a way of understanding and organizing that makes sense from chapter to chapter. The theme follows you from chapter to chapter, so it's easier to understand. But it was just a clever, at the time, this was 30-something years ago, I think, that book. It was a long time ago.
Okay.
At the time, it was a clever device. The idea of emotional first aid as a theme from a book was really important because the whole point of the book was to say, everyone has at home a bandage for if you get a cut, and they have, like an aspirin for if you get sick, and you have like an ice pack if you get a sprain. So the idea of having a first aid kit at home is familiar to everyone. The idea of having an emotional first aid kit, that was the new thing. But it doesn't sound that new because we're familiar with the concept of having something in your home to treat wounds. So that's what made it work. It was just a different way to treat different wounds.
So could I say that if we want to tell some story to make people understand, we could give an example of something that they are familiar with?
Yes, because then it makes more sense, and then it's just a version of this. So it's a little less intimidating. People understand from the title what this book is about to be.
So I think a lot of people that watching this YouTube, they are like a storyteller or content creator. Do you have any suggestion for anyone that want to be a better storyteller?
One of the ways I approach stories is, first of all, to state the obvious, every story needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. There needs to be an arc, right?
To be an arc?
There needs to be an arc. You need to go on a journey. The story needs to take you on a journey where something starts and then something happens and then you're not sure where it's going to go and then it resolves in some kind of way. You have to follow a journey. So you have to have a beginning, a middle, an end. But the other part of storytelling that's really important for me is, and this is my process, I'm not saying this is going to work for everyone. For me, when I tell stories, they tend to be long. Which is not good for a book. You can't and so my process is tell the story the way I want to tell the story with whatever details I want to tell it, and then edit down, cut until you're left with the essence of the story. so that people are with you all the way and not suddenly like, wait, now where is it going? Wait, why are you talking about this now? Keep it tight. I can't write it tight from the beginning. I can't, personally. I need to write it very long and then make it tight.
I think most of us can't write it like very short, like you said. We all like write it so long.
Yes.
So I think it's normal for people, right?
Yes, but people do that and then they don't do that second step of editing it down and editing it down. So they're just left with a long thing that doesn't quite work.
I think we learned a lot from this conversation about like storytelling, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
โอเคก็หวังว่าวันนี้นะฮะพวกเราน่าจะได้เรียนรู้อะไรเยอะแยะนะครับจากคุณกายวินส์นะครับซึ่งเขาเล่าให้เราฟังนะว่าการทำ storytelling ที่น่าสนใจเนี่ยทำยังไงเขาไม่ได้เริ่มต้นจากการเขียนทีเดียวแล้วได้เลยนะมันก็ต้องเป็นการ edit การเขียนเนี่ยหลายๆครั้งด้วยนะครับก็หวังว่าคลิปนี้จะเป็นประโยชน์นะยังไงถ้าเกิดว่าชอบนะครับก็กดไลค์แล้วก็กด subscribe ที่ช่องของ Creative Talk ได้นะครับส่วนใครที่มีคำถามอะไรสงสัยลองคอมเมนต์ลงมาด้านล่างได้นะครับแล้วยังไงถ้าเรามีโอกาสเนี่ยเราจะส่งคำถามนี้ไปถามคุณกายวินส์นะครับสำหรับคลิปนี้ขอบคุณทุกคนนะฮะที่ติดตามนะครับแล้วพบกันใหม่ EP หน้าสวัสดีครับ